Welcome to the worlds made by Script Welder. Don't Escape and Deep Sleep. Not in that order, but, the only game series where you can get stuck in a dream world followed by literal shadow people, or watching yourself die and preventing it, or making it where you won't make it out of the place alive. Either way, in most of these, you ain't making it out. But these two game franchises aren't talked about nearly enough. I found zero lore videos on them, and to be fair, this is a game, these two game franchises are ones I love a lot. So I kind of went out of my way to compile some lore and do this. That way, if anybody's like me and got into this, you just went to figure out the lore after beating all the games, hey, I'm here for you. Anyways, for now. These are good, especially Don't Escape 4 Days to Survive. Now, I must slow down, not get ahead of myself. We need to go back. The first series of games are the Deep Sleep trilogy, if I remember right. And seeing how I'm scripting this at 2 in the fucking morning, sufficient to say, maybe I shouldn't trust my memories. And you want to hear something? I'm recording this at 2 a.m. the next day after scripting. Ain't that just holly jolly? Or cathartic? Not cathartic. However, definitely poetic. Anyways. So, maybe. But anyways. There is a big player in the lore that will be discussed soon. But all you need to know is keep an eye out and ear for when I mention the Sidereal Plexus, a mega company that's making breakthroughs at a rate that seems impossible. But we'll get to them. Anyways, we play as someone who woke up in the wrong world. We are lucid dreaming, or out-of-body experience. And when we figure this out, we are no longer in this world. It gets destroyed, and, we are now in the deep sleep. We do a couple of complicated puzzles. We have an encounter with the night folks. I'll explain later. But yeah, I'll talk about them in due time. So, we get a crystal out of the box and manage to blind them with a big shiny light. We wake up happy to be alive, but this game shows us that we're trying to get back ever since to try to figure out what happened and to show that maybe we aren't crazy. But, yeah. So, yeah. And in the first game, something I forgot to mention, we had a message from someone in the last game. The call will be important in literally a minute, but after a while, we learned from the friend that we are in what is known as the deep sleep, I believe. And however how every single human is connected, and when you enter this realm, you become susceptible to night folks, creatures who were once human but lost their bodies. We learn this info, and again, that's a theory. We don't really know what the night folks are. That's just what we think. Yeah, so what we experience and later. But anyways, he says the only way out is to hit the bottom and jump out, figuratively. But to make it out, along the way we obtain a tiger plushie that belongs to Cody, which we return to him. That'll be kind of important later. Anyways, we wake up and sometime later decide to go back because, we feel crazy. We go back to the library, find a book. Jesus, I wrote this script like twice. It turns out we are asleep and the world falls apart as we go deeper. Explain later. But anyways, we bump into the person who gave us the phone call in the last game and tells us how to get out. Is hit the bottom, jump up, warns us of a lady that is going crazy from being trapped in the deep sleep. But we have to beware the shadow folks. We find a note scattered around that actually gives us pretty massive lore and might have something to do with Sidereal Plexus Corporation. I'll explain later. I first encountered the phenomenon in the 80s, but it would seem they have existed since the dawn of humans, dawn of the human race, commonly known as the Night Folks, or Shadow People. They live in the realm of dreams, but desperately want to get to our realm by possessing variable and unoccupied bodies. As long as you are in a dream, you are safe. They attack a mind that is detached from their body. Sometimes this happens, but more often during UBIS, out-of-body experience, and lucid dreaming. So, something I almost forgot to mention in the first game. Hold on, drink break. Water. Anyways. So we learn in the first game, we get a note written to ourselves, meaning there is kind of a pseudo bit of, might either be a loop, or potentially we are writing to ourselves from our subconscious or something along that lines. We are somehow communicating to ourselves, which might be other universe, another version of ourselves. I swear I'll explain later when we get to it. But that being said, this note might be left to us by us or not. We don't know. But I believe this is not us. I believe this might have been a Sidereal Plexus report. Again, I don't know. We don't really know a lot when it comes to the Deep Sleep trilogy, because this is definitely clearly one of their earlier games. Deep Sleep, Deeper Sleep, and Deepest Sleeps are definitely one of their older games. And with the Deep Sleep Labyrinth Forsaken coming out soon, I'm hoping that it kind of stitches it together. Anyways. So yeah, we learned the Shadow Folks have been here for a long while. Meaning they could be so many things, but I have theories. I had one that got contradicted. Anyways, outside of that, we almost get shanked by the lady that the one guy warned us about. But yeah, we tried to escape by hitting the bottom, but we end up getting ambushed by a Shadow Folk, and boom! Deepest Sleep, the third game. We wake up after a brief jump scare, and, we get dropped into the deepest, darkest part of this realm. We find a strange blue crystal, which looks different from other ones. I'll explain later. And we see, we find something made by the Sidereal Plexus Corporation. Meaning, they've been in that is the thing that mainly connects, Don't Escape to Deepest Sleep outside of the Shadow Folk that I'll explain later. And, the Sidereal Plexus website that also connects them, which, there's a lot of lore that nobody really talks about. Like, I only found one person discussing the lore of this game. Despite the fact Markiplier played it. Like, if Markiplier plays a game, usually there's a lore video on it at some point, because, it's Markiplier. Anytime he plays a game, it gives it a ton of attention. I know other YouTubers can do that, but, I'm a fan of Markiplier, so I only know that example. But yeah. Outside of that, I don't know. There really isn't a lot, so I figured. Boy, will we talk about them soon! Oh, will we? Anyways, we had to get through here. We found something that can kill Shadow Folk. They're called bottom feeders. They look like the grubs from Half-Life 2. What are they called? The Advisors! In a messed up way, they kind of good. Anyways, we make it through here after completing a few puzzles, and we learn that we are a shadow folk. In the mirror, we got our body snatched. We see someone else. We could let them escape, or get our way out. And without a second thought, we take their body and become them. Not without a second thought, without remorse. Or we could stay. And as the ending says, the loop continues. Or we could break it right here, right now. And we did. We took their body. Without a second thought. No remorse, no mercy, just, you know what? I want your body. Give me. Okay, so, okay. Before we move on, we don't have the full story yet. The sister of the character we play as is looking for him and goes into the realm to find him after he died years prior in Labyrinth of the Forsaken. I think it's not finished, but I'm really hyped for when it comes out. In this story, we learn the names of our character, who is Thomas, and his sister's name is Sarah, respectively. Oh, hers is Amy. And that's about all we got about the game's small demo. And to be fair, it was the demo was released last year of June. So, and with how much they had done, I feel like they're nearing the end. I swear, dude, if Deep Sleep Labyrinth of the Forsaken comes out like, I don't know, like within the same month as this video, within 30 days, I will genuinely, like, I will be so happy but so angry. I will shake my hand at the sky. Thank you, but dang it, it's outdated. And I'll have to make a quick video, like quick 15-minute video, just kind of covering what's going on with it and the repercussions of all that jazz. But, anyways, with that being said, but yeah, it's currently a small demo. It's not long, but I mean, it's fun. But there's nothing left to talk about. Right now, you guys probably checked how much of the video's left. Yeah, now we're on to the next game franchise, Don't Escape. A reverse escape room. You find things to keep you in, which, I'm not gonna, if this thing was made in the real world, it would be so fucking hype. Anyway, so the first game, we are a medieval peasant that can turn into a werewolf. So we make it where we can't leave. through potions, meat, chaining us and tying us up, locking our doors and nailing our boards, whatever to keep us in and not out. So in the second game, frankly, one's slightly more interesting in my personal opinion. We are in a zombie apocalypse, and our friend is going to die. So, because he got infected, and, we bump into someone with glasses. Without my glasses, and they're like my friends. Without their glasses, they can't see. So we go and get him his glasses, so he decides to help us. At some point, we find batteries and a camera, take a picture, and give it to the father. And he realizes he doesn't need to give up hope and die, so then he helps us. We find some painkillers and alcohol, so our friend goes to sleep, so we can kill him while he's, happy. I mean, he's infected, so we probably just give him a nice, easy death. So, we fortify the base, throw some shit up, do all that, and then we survive. Then the third game. Bye. So, we are on the UFES Horizon. We are investigating the missing ship on behalf, or we are in some way connected to Cyberplexus, because the website, I'll talk about later, has a entire incident report on it, meaning they're linked to it in some way. But, anyways. We also learn the crystals can grow inside living tissue, and using frequency to control us like puppet. So we blow it up before the ship to assist us gets there, and we succeeded nothing. You'll know what we mean later. We wait. Now on to Don't Escape 4, one of my favorite games. The Don't Escape trilogy doesn't really have a lot that connects to the overarching story. The first one, you're literally just a medieval peasant. The second one, you are a zombie apocalypse survivor. There's a bit more there. But you should really buy the games. They're worth the money. And if you don't want to buy them, you could just go on, like, Newgrounds or something and play them. For free, I'm pretty sure. So, I don't know. That's up to you guys. I'm just saying I'm breezing over these three because you should play them. They were fun. But anyways, we wake up in the desert. Our main character is known as David. We see gas in the distance, and have a dream of us dying and what would happen. So we set up shop in an old house that has been abandoned. We go and end up finding a decontamination vehicle or whatever. We mix up some chemicals to make the gas weaker. And we do a bunch of stuff. Key bit of information. The moon is broken. So, because the sidereal plexus blew up the moon because of a drilling. And or conducting tests with the crystals. I'll talk about that more later. Anyway, so with that in our pocket, we go tonight, have a nice sleep because we prepared like a boss. And have another dream about dying from rapid drop in temperature. We wake up to someone crashing into our roof. Must be a woman, which it is. I entirely wrote that joke into the script primarily because, a lady crashed into the roof with a helicopter. Sure, low-hanging fruit to make a joke of that, but hey, I never said my humor was highbrow. Anyways, so we go up there, and Kate, I definitely feel like her crashing into us a joke of some kind, but anyways, Kate points a gun at us, and eventually we come to agreement about leaving Earth, if we help her. So she tells us about some place, a collapsed house, and a ruined restaurant. So we go to the restaurant first and see a kid named Cody. And he looks just like the kid we saved in Deeper Sleep. Nice tie-in. Outside of Cyberplexus. Anyways, he is hungry. So, and has no family. We get some food out of the freezer by going through the back window, and give him get food, and now he just joins our group. We go to the abandoned house and meet Barry. He has recently lost his wife due to the incident, so we go into his house. Oh, without it, but we find a locket and find a note. So we try to give him the locket, and to which he almost kills us for looting his fucking wife. To which I say, valid. If somebody took jewelry from my recently deceased loved one, and then tried to give it to me like, hey, you should read this. I told you not to go in my fucking house. What the hell, man? I don't blame him. If anything, he was in the right. And he's portrayed as being an insane person during that time. No, that is a perfectly valid reason to, get angry. Because I'm getting angry for him. Anyways, he reads the letter and, but he reads the note, calms down, and he does apologize. But he asks for us to bury her to Kate's protest. But anyways, we do, and we have our big ship family. Uncle Barry, Kate and David, and Cody. And that's how I've always seen it. I always seen it as a, makeshift family. So we get to our house. We make it all nice and toasty for the cold. And having good sleep, we have a dream about bandits turning us into Swiss cheese. So I wake up and tell everybody, but Kate had a dream about a building. We go to an old side reel plexus building. As we go in, one of the letters fall, and Cody and Barry are dangling. If you don't save Cody, Barry will be genuinely depressed from what I remember. But anyways, as Barry plummets, because if you don't save Cody, you're weird, to who knows where, we try to get him while picking up a few locations and learning a bit. Saying is something bigger here. That Cyberplexus has access to technology in the 80s that we barely even have today. Or we don't have at all. Which we learn about a note in Cyberplexus website that we've gained, that Cyberplexus has access to the fucking multiverse. And that's how they've been getting access to all this advanced technology, using the Dreamwell in a way to transcend the veil of reality, to go to new worlds, and they use those blue crystals from the third game, which is kind of insane. They use the crystal frequency to be able to get through without risk of night folks attacking them. But apparently, since they've been doing this, the amount of night folks have been going up, which I kind of have a theory that, I have a theory. My theory is that when they force their way into the bodies from other worlds, the minds of them get pushed into this realm. They're humans that no longer have bodies, so they become night folks. But that's just a theory. A game theory. Anyways, we learn that every single game took place in its own universe, because most of them are actually referenced in the website. Anyway, so back to David's story. Cody helped us find a floppy disk, and we find Barry. And I ain't gonna lie, I cried a little, and I'm not embarrassed to admit it. It might be sad, okay? Anyways, we learn that Kate worked for Sidereal Plexus as a pilot, but she seems to know a little more than she's letting on. Anyways, heading to the diner, we get some oil and find a magazine about Sidereal Plexus coma centers. How it's cheap and it might be a PR stunt, but some people say it's experimenting, which they do get right to a scary degree, which makes me think they are telling the complete truth. But adding in conspiracy theories and other stuff to make them think that they are crazy, so when people actually discover it, they never worry, or when people speak up, they are like, oh, you're crazy. You're telling lies like that magazine company. Water. It's almost 2:40 a.m. Jesus, I still have to edit this together. It's gonna be 3 a.m. at the earliest before I'm done with this. Power through it. Anyways. So anyways, we overhear a conversation between Razor and Sarge, and, after Razor leaves, we go to talk to Sarge, and, we convince him to leave the gang, and, we sabotage some of their stuff, gives the drinks, kills one of them, and for the night, after a good night's sleep and learning that Earth and Moon and Earth are about to become one and the same, up and Kate is right about the whole space station thing. We got Razor, set him free, and go to the spaceship. We learn that we are going to the moon into a sleeper pod, which she knows way more than a pilot should know about all that, besides the point. Repair the ship, fix it up. It depends on your run through. But anyways, so you got a space, she lands just as good as the first time. And we learn she understands how all of this works. But we get ready and, well, I'll play it for itself because, you know what they say, show don't tell, actions speaks more than words. Or so they say. Okay. Okay, we're on to the last thing. So, yeah, we go through the game of plan with scenario 2 or 3, depending on your playthrough. If you use the floppy disk, you unlock the Awakening. You play through the game again, but instead of you having to deal with gas, you have to deal with, let's say, locusts. So you skip day 1, nothing interesting happened. Night 2 was hot instead of cold. We go up into Kate, and David and Kate have a small level deja vu. Which, we already did, and, just the feeling is more intense. So day 3, instead of the Raiders, we deal with a storm, and Sarge and what's left in the military helps us if they were wounded. We actually had a dream, and here Barry's wife warns us of coming to save Barry's life. And we see a night folk come after us, which means, say it with me now, they're definitely connected. Anyway, so yeah. We managed to get both of the floppy disks, survive the storm, go to the space station, putting them in, we get, the true ending! Yippee! Okay, and yes, I got emotional when this happened too. So what? I have emotions. So yeah, if you feel like I did brush through the Reawakening playthrough, I was. Play it for yourself, dude. It's worth the cash or free on Newground, I think. But until, Labyrinth of Forsaken comes out, we really don't have that much to talk about. But yeah, I do have today, there are some old Flash games they made that might be connected, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, Sidereal Plexus has everything tech-wise. It can travel across different worlds if they wanted to, which actually makes you wonder how powerful they are. Because Sidereal Plexus has access to everything. They have access to multiple worlds with varying levels of development and tech. In one of the worlds, they had a massive accident because the blue crystals that they used to transmit across realities, kind of. And we learn kind of like nothing outside of they denied everything, despite the fact it was their fault, that the explosion was caused by Sidereal Plexus. On the website, we see like a hieroglyphic, meaning, yeah, we've encountered these night bolts since the beginning of time. Which makes you wonder, what if the original night bolts were just people who died? What if these are souls that didn't rest? We don't really know a lot about the night bolts, which I think they will be greatly explored when we hit Labyrinth of the Forsaken. Just like with Don't Escape 4. We learned a ton about the Sidereal Plexus company, and was kind of the main focus. Which I think Deep Sleep, Labyrinth of Forsaken, when it comes out, will focus on Sidereal Plexus, but mainly the night bolts. To kind of tell us exactly what they're about, like they did with Deep... Don't Escape. Yeah. God, I'm losing my voice. But, yeah. They have access to weather drones that look literally out of something made today. In the 90s or like 80s. Which is actually fucking crazy. They have a way to literally deflect thunderstorms. Something we don't even have. We can barely control the weather with weather seeds, and they're able to manipulate thunderstorms to not happen, which is absolutely insane. They have frequencies that can kill bugs without pesticides, and specific bugs using specific frequencies. The type of shit they have in the 90s, at the latest, is fucking insane, because this shit that we don't even have now. And outside of the fact we've been rolling back on advancements here lately, I mean, outside of the fact that a lot of advancements have been rolled back to cut funding for whatever other stuff we need, we don't even have this shit anywhere. Even in more technological advanced areas like China, they don't have shit like this, and their technology is, I believe, more advanced than ours. And they don't even have the ability to press a few buttons on a fucking remote, and then all of a sudden, if this fly that would eat your plant comes within 50 yards, it gets turned into fucking ash or something. Because of sound frequencies. And we don't have literal devices that placed in a certain area will eliminate thunderstorms from the area. And just having drones that can tell you down to the minute detail, how acidic something is, the pH of the air, everything. How dense is this mist, and all this, and what it is to some extent. It is actually crazy how advanced the Cyberplexus company is. Even though they have access to the multiverse, they haven't shared this with anyone. I don't know, I just find it crazy. By the way, Kate and David, we're in this loop for at least 5 times. Like, let that sink in. 5 other times. But, anyways, I don't have anything else. You know, there are some old Flash games, and they might be connected, but I don't know, I'm not entirely sure. But, yeah, at least our heroes, for now, at least, had a good ending, and, yeah. That mostly out of the way, that is a complete story. If you're watching this, you're most likely like me and just wanted to know lore after playing the games, or wanted a bit of a refresher before diving back in. But yeah, this game does need a lot more eyes on them. These games, these four especially, is so good. It needs a lot more support, and that's just my thoughts. That being said, that's about all I have to say, other than, you know, the YouTube spiel on liking, subscribing, and down below. Share with your friends and family. Well, whatever you can do to help the channel, I greatly appreciate that.